What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to No Filter Chels with your boy Jason. As you can hear and see, change my channel name to No Filter Chels. We're going to just be getting into the Chelsea Football Club side of things, the backlash of the comments that Enzo Maresc made about having the worst 48 hours being the Chelsea boss, and also getting into the preview of Cardiff City versus Chelsea in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, with Chelsea having a chance to get to their third semifinal in 18 months under Enzo Maresca. So, if you like these kind of videos, you like talking about soccer, football, you just like talking about sports, and you want to get engaged in the comment section, please drop a like, subscribe, turn on your bell notifications. I will be uploading frequently. I will post a review later on today, going over my thoughts over what we witnessed against a League One side where hopefully we can actually progress and not make it too difficult, because whenever we actually play against teams that aren't on the same level as us, we tend to drop down to their level. So let's go ahead and get started with the backlash of the comments that Enzo Maresca said after the 2-0 win against Everton. So over the weekend, after the 2-0 win against Everton, Enzo Maresca came out, and usually after a win, you don't really see managers go as nuclear as what Enzo Maresca did, but he was speaking on how he's had the worst 48 hours as a Chelsea boss, not necessarily receiving support from the hierarchy at Chelsea. And now people were speculating on who is he talking about? Who is he speaking on like that? Because we saw a press conference yesterday in the build up to this game today where a reporter asked him, "Is there somebody in the club that you are specifically talking about?" And the reporter was asking him questions. Is it the fans? He doesn't really give a reaction. Is it any of the coaches? Not really a reaction. Then we start getting to the sporting directors where he starts to squint a little bit like, huh, okay. And then he asks if it's the owners, shakes his head like this, like, you're actually onto something there. Now, Todd Bowley is now a minority owner within Chelsea, within Clear Lake Capital, within Blueco. And he's not necessarily having his front foot on the pedal anymore because of what he did when he first came, just buying players for exuberant amount of money, giving them ridiculous wages. And he learned over time that you just can't buy these players, give them 300 grand a week, and then they expect a great performance out of them every single week. You should be expecting that if you're getting paid that, like if you're a Raheem Sterling, but he realized that he shouldn't be the active sporting director. He should just sit back and let the people that actually know the sport bring in the players that this club needs. Who I think he's specifically talking about in these comments is Baghdad Egbali, the guy that he reports to, and reports have also surfaced. If I go over to this tab right here, not this one right here, says that the Chelsea hierarchy are relaxed about Enzo Maresca and see no cause for alarm despite recent media noise. Emotional outbursts after tense games are understood internally. What the club doesn't like is when criticism is aired out publicly. Now, we can take that section there. It's like, I understand that part. You don't want what's going on inside of the club to be put out there in public. But when your manager does come out after a win and says what he says, I believe that everyone has their breaking point and everyone doesn't want to feel like they're being undermined. So as we keep reading here, Baghdad Egbali and Todd Bowley have also sent Maresca messages of support in the last 48 hours just to reassure him that his position is secure, and asking that any concerns raised via official channels and not the media. So he would rather so the owners would rather him speak to the official Chelsea channels rather than the media. But it's like, for me, I've seen countless managers in the past, even after wins, you can see that they're frustrated because they're not getting backed by the hierarchy. And usually that falls in line with the owners. The sporting directors are only there, in my opinion, to let the owners know and the managers know which players they're looking at and to see if it is acceptable for them to bring them into the club, because this club now is more data driven than it is just finding like the next best player out there. Discussions were also talked about with January plans and what he needs to add to the squad. There's no denying that this club needs to add some type of experience, whether it's in the center back position, whether it's in the attacking line, or whether it's getting a backup goalkeeper to Robert Sanchez to give him competition because Jorgensen isn't it. We saw what he's done this season, and it's just been a shit show. This is why Robert Sanchez, I believe, is playing the way he's playing to keep Jorgensen out of his rear view mirror, but also he's making a case that we don't need to necessarily go get another goalkeeper right then and there, like a Mike Mignon, or go see if Jan Oblak is available from Atletico Madrid. It's more or less like Robert Sanchez is doing everything he can to keep that number one job, and he's has not put a foot wrong this season outside of the Manchester United game. Another key topic that was also discussed was Nico Jackson. With Liam Delap's injuries and Bayern Munich publicly saying that they're not going to keep Nicholas Jackson, they're going to leave the final decision to Enzo Maresca on whether or not he is reintegrated back into the club because Nico Jackson is a well-liked individual within the dressing room, within the club, and everything like that. But he needs to apologize to the club, Enzo Maresca, and his teammates before he can even have a sniff of getting back into the first thing. Do I think that's going to actually happen? I mean, to be honest with you, we need a center forward who's going to lead the press because João Pedro is not a guy who's going to lead the press. Liam Delap could do that, but he's finding himself more on the sidelines than he is actually on the pitch. And when he is on the pitch, he's being reckless, he's being rash, he's not holding the ball up properly. He has moments where he'll turn on you, where he'll hold the ball up and he'll link players up. But I haven't seen enough from Liam Delap this season when he has been on the pitch for me to say that he is better than what Nicholas Jackson was bringing to this club. And a few other points to point out here before we get into my overall thoughts on this is Maresca, he expects to be the Chelsea manager next season and will meet with the owners face to face pretty soon. I imagine sometime in January to go over January plans, summer transfer plans, and the outlook for the rest of the season. Whatever Enzo Maresca needs, we need to make sure that we are giving him that. The owners need to make sure they are giving him that because this team does have an opportunity. It's only 8 points from the top. This team has an opportunity. Win some games, pick up points, hope other teams around you drop points, and you never know where we will be at when it comes March or April. Chelsea are also exploring a pathway for Mikhailo Mudryk to play again in the coming months, with Strasbourg, our sister club, informed about a potential loan if a reduced sentence is secured. Now, Mudryk, we all know, had doping allegations when he was with the Ukrainian national team. Had nothing to do with Chelsea, but he signed a contract. A breach of contract was there. But with how everything is playing out, I'm gonna be honest. Can you guys give me a reason why a Mikhailo Mudryk should not be playing? Can you tell me what Jamie Gittins has done better than a Mikhailo Mudryk? Can you tell me what Alejandro Garnacho has done better than a Mikhailo Mudryk? The only player, honestly, I want to see on the left-hand side is Pedro Neto. And if it's not Pedro Neto, tell me why Mikhailo Mudryk can't be reintegrated back in the squad. All he needs is match fitness. He knows what Enzo wants. And last time we saw him, he wasn't playing bad. Unfortunately, this doping allegation came out, and now he hasn't been able to play the sport for close to a year now. Bringing Mikhailo Mudryk back in would almost be like a brand new signing. And you're telling me he wouldn't have a point to prove? You're telling me that he wouldn't be the perfect left winger for us with the pace he has? And it seemed like he was getting more adapt to what Enzo Maresca was asking for from his wingers to be direct, to be elusive, to be tricky, to be dynamic, to be a threat. Like Garnacho is direct, but he doesn't have the same pace as a Mykhailo Mudryk. Jamie Gittins can be tricky, but he can only be in the game really if we're up. If the game is close and tied, we're not going to sit there and throw in a Jamie Gittins because his game relies on space in behind. His game relies on the game being open. Mykhailo Mudryk, you can make the same case, does need that, does need that, but I'm making the argument that Gittins and Garnacho are not doing enough for me and for this club to say that they should be the starting left winger for the next 4 to 5 years. Mykhailo Mudryk, in my opinion, give him an opportunity to come back, get reintegrated, get used to everyone else and how they play again. There's no telling me that he can't be a star left winger for this club. Is it realistic that he comes back into the fold? No, but I can dream, right? We all can dream, right? And there's plenty of Chelsea fans out there that would probably want him back in the club because at his core, Misha, he's a good individual. He's a good human being. He just messed up. And it wasn't even with Chelsea where he messed up. It was with the Ukrainian national team. And Chelsea Football Club could honestly sue the Ukrainian national team for the breach in contract that he was put under. But we're going to go ahead and push that stuff to the side here because at the end of the day, I do believe Enzo Maresca is going to be in the job next season. I do believe that he will figure it out with these owners, and these owners are going to back him because they understood the job he's done. And from where this club was 2 or 3 seasons ago, none of these managers that have come in before him were going to able to turn the ship around. Now, the common denominator that I have been seeing a lot of people talk about is if we're going through 4 or 5 managers with these owners, you don't think the common denominator is the people upstairs not making the correct managerial hiring decision? And then also at the same time, when you think about it, if Enzo Maresca is being told from upstairs that you need to heavily rotate, like I mentioned in my video yesterday, how much of the blame is it really on Enzo and is it really on Baghdad Iqbali? Because Todd Bowley's taking a back seat. So everything is going through Iqbali right now. Why are you having an influence on who is being put out there? All we need you to do is just provide the change for what we need in this club. We're not asking you to be on the pitch. We're not asking you to be on the sidelines and manage this team because, respectfully, sir, you don't have any tactical knowledge on what this team actually needs. All we need is just your funds, bro. That's all we're asking for. I don't want to hear that the owners are dictating which players get on the pitch, what players get rotated, or anything like that. That completely negates the reasoning for even having a manager. If you guys want to pick the team so bad, come down to the sidelines and it'll show you how difficult it is to be a manager in England. But with that being said, I do believe Enzo Maresca will be in the job next season. I do believe he will figure this out. We will be in the top four, possibly be in the title race come the end of the season, and we will pick up a couple trophies. So with that, we will go ahead and skip on to the preview for Cardiff City versus Chelsea. So Cardiff City versus Chelsea, a League One side versus a Premier League side. Generally, how these things go, you're, you would expect a Premier League team to walk into any League One side, whether it's home or away, to pick up the result. But with how we've been playing, especially recently against teams that are inferior to us in terms of talent, I'm not too worried about this game because I do believe we will find a way to get it over the line. The first 15, 20 minutes, in my opinion, I do believe that it's going to be a slugfest because Cardiff will be up for it. The fans will be up for it. Premier League teams don't often go to League One grounds or Championship grounds or League Two grounds. So it's going to be an event. It's going to be a spectacle. And it's going to be, in my opinion, a pretty decent game of football to watch. They're top in League One. They lead it by 4 points, I believe. Um, Not really too familiar with any of the players on there because I don't pay attention to League One like that. But For the Chelsea news, obviously no Cole Palmer. We don't need him in this game. I imagine there's going to be no Enzo Fernandez as well because you don't need him to play in a game like this when you have a big game against Newcastle at the weekend. I do believe Moises Caicedo should be playing in this game just to get some match fitness back, just to get back in the rhythm because he wasn't allowed to play in the past three domestic games in the league. So it'll be good for him to also partner with an Andre Santos. I'm giving a little bit of a preview of my starting 11 here. Um, I do believe those two will form a good partnership in midfield. You got Note just in front of them. I believe that midfield should be able to do a job against this Cardiff side. You know, you have your Gusto on the right, Achiampong as one center back, Benoit Badiashile as the second center back. I don't want to see Tosin. I do not want to see Tosin. It's getting to the point with Tosin where I'm surprised you're not in the bomb squad. I'm surprised that you haven't just been dropped completely out of the 23-man group. Like the amount of points that he has cost us this season already. He had a great Club World Cup, by the way. But this entire season so far, it's just been shaky performance after shaky performance after shaky performance, stupid mistake, mental mistake this, mental mistake that. I've had enough. For a guy who's supposed to be one of the most experienced guys in the team, you're playing like you've never played in a Premier League game before. I've never played in a Premier League game before, but I'm allowed to have an opinion on what I see. And what I am seeing is, my man, you're playing like a championship level defender at best. And this club is not looking for a championship level a defender. I saw some reports earlier about how Chelsea are trying to go get a Thiago Silva back. I'd take him right now and insert him in that starting lineup right next to a Wesley Fofana right now. Like that's what I would do because you need experience back there. You need a guy who's going to find a way to kill the game off and slow the game down, take the sting out of the game. And that's what Thiago Silva did best. Not only was he a great defender, he's a great shithouser too, because he knows how to draw fouls, he knows how to slow the game down, and he knows how to get underneath opposing players' skins. And I don't think we have a defender like that outside of Mark Cucurella, who's not going to be playing today because we would rather have him for that Newcastle game away where we need those 3 points. So to go ahead and to dive into my starting lineup here, I'm gonna go ahead and get into this right here. So my starting lineup that I have out here right now, I got Robert Sanchez in goal, Joao Hato on the left, got Badia Shield and Josh Achiampong at center back, Malo Gusto at right back, Moises Caicedo and Andre Santos as your two midfielders, Esteval on the right. Now a lot of people are gonna want Jamie Gittins on the left. I want to see Garnacho on the left just to see what he can do. Garnacho, I believe he has moments where it's like that's the guy I want there out there on the left because you're direct and you really just don't give a fuck. You're gonna do what you got to do to try to get the ball in the back of the net and create something. Jamie Gibson, for me, is more or less a guy that needs space and behind, and the game has to be open. In the first 15, 20 minutes, I believe this game is going to be compact. It's not going to be easy for us to break them down because they're going to sit back. It's a low block, and it's what we usually struggle against when we play in the league. We play in a Champions League against a team that knows we're going to have a possession, and then we'll sit, and then they'll sit back, and then they won't allow too much space in behind. Note, I believe he is going to start this game because he hasn't got a lot of minutes, and this is the ideal time to put him in there just to see what he can do with link ups, with Garnacho, with Esteval, with Mark Gue as the center forward. Mark Gue, for me, is a guy that will lead the press, will work his socks off, will get the odd goal every once in a while, and will create something every once in a while. You develop him right, you won't even have to have a conversation about bringing in a Nicholas Jackson back. Mark Gu has shown me already that he's willing to lead the press. He's willing to get stuck in, and he's willing to fight for the badge. So my starting 11 here is more about rotation than it is about getting the result. I do believe with this lineup we will get the result, but it's more or less on, do we allow them to take the game to us because they will be up to it, or do we show our Premier League quality and ruthlessness and put the game away early? I'm leading to believe that Cardiff is going to take the game to us early, and then we'll find a way to kill the game off in the first half. It's going to be a rocky first 10 to 15 minutes. Cardiff will be up for it. The fans will be up for it, just like I said, but more or less with the quality we have, even coming off of the bench, even if it's heavily rotational, I still feel like we have enough quality to get the job done. So with that being said, I believe that we will get this job done. Um, Not going to be a first 10 to 15 minutes, but I do see us pulling out this game 3-0. Even though I said it's going to be a rocky first 10 to 15 minutes, I've seen this team have a first rocky 10 to 15 minutes and win games 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, right? So I'm looking at it from a perspective of Premier League quality will take over in this game at some point, and we get a couple goals in the first half, then we completely kill the game off in the second half. I've got Esteval scoring a brace, along with maybe an Andre Santos scoring a goal in the second half. So I got a 3-0 victory for Chelsea. We push forward to the semifinals. We see who we play then. This is one of the cups here where I'm expecting us to actually win this Carabao Cup. At least get some silverware in early this season to give this team more confidence. Because the worst thing that could have happened from rival fans' point of view is this group of players winning something and getting the feeling of winning trophies, getting the feeling of getting to a finals, getting the feeling of getting to semifinals with a chance to get to a final. That's the last thing that these rival fans wanted. As Chelsea fans, this is exactly what we wanted. We wanted to see this team actually win something, get the feeling of it, and to know that they can beat anybody in the world when they are on their game. So with that being said, I got a good 3-0 win over Chelsea. Very shaky first start of the game, but 3-0 win for Chelsea. We push forward. Again, you like these kind of videos, you like talking about soccer, sports, anything else, drop a like, sub, bell, notifications, turn those on. If you want them personalized, if you want all my uploads, it'll help my channel grow. It'll help my voice get out there more, and just get engaged in the comments, guys. Like, I'm going to be talking to y'all. I'm going to be just hearing what you guys have to say. I'm not going to be right on everything, but one thing I do like to do is just have constructive criticism from other people to let me know how I can improve my quality of videos and just even like my length of videos. So again, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. This is No Filter Chels, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll give you guys my review probably a couple hours after the game. Peace.